negotiate him out of that boat. They did try to talk him out, although from what I understand, he was not communicative.
Other people have also been taken into custody as well, reportedly. Had they aided and abetted the suspect?
There's been actually, I don't have that information.
Commissioner Davis, can you talk about the suspect's injuries?
Suspects out there that you've got your guys. This is it.
I think that based upon our investigation at this point in time, the citizens of the city of Boston in this area can be confident that the threat has been removed.
What kind of condition is the suspect? What kind of condition?
Suspect is in serious condition at the hospital.
They didn't rob any 7-Eleven. How did you know that these were the suspects you were looking for? They didn't rob the 7-Eleven, so how did you know that they were there at the same time?
The suspects came to our attention after a vicious assassination of the police officer at MIT, and a subsequent robbery that occurred where we got videotape from a gas station. The robbery actually was a carjacking. The car was taken from the scene. And officers engaged that car from the Watertown Police Department along with other officers. We were then able to put the case together.
Can you mistake his action in New Bedford?
Shot when you were apprehending him at the boat? Was he shot by a police officer?
The man who found him at the boat said that he was covered with blood. We assume that those injuries occurred the evening before. There was an exchange of gunfire at the boat. I don't know if he was struck.
You think the suspect was trying to plant another bomb?
There was a house in New Bedford that the hostage rescue team went into from the FBI because we felt that it was important to the investigation, but the suspect was not found.
Given that he was still out there and armed.
I'm sorry.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what you call the assassination of Officer Collier? Was he shot in cold blood in his cruiser? What do you know about it?
My assessment of that particular incident is that he was assassinated in his cruiser.
And do you know what he was doing there?
He was responding to a call for a disturbance.
Given that he was out there, still armed, was it a mistake to give the all clear and let people go outside? Could they have been at risk?
We certainly did not give an all clear. We made it clear that people, and Colonel Albans is here and spoke very eloquently to this. This was a very serious and dangerous situation. We had no information that the suspect was still holed up in this particular area. He managed to elude us by being just slightly outside of the perimeter that we set up. But in truth, we told everybody that this was a dangerous situation and they should be cautious. This is a very dangerous time in the world. We have to use caution. That's what we ask people to do. Thankfully, this man who found the suspect called us right away, did the right thing, got on 911. We were able to come in and take care of the situation.
Did he have explosives with him when he was captured?
There's no report of explosives with him capture. But I got to tell you, I was at the scene last night just after this incident occurred. There was an exchange of over 200 rounds of gunfire. There were improvised explosive devices and handmade hand grenades that were thrown at the officers at the scene. This is the stuff that in an urban police department, it's almost unheard of. So these officers acted heroically, courageously. They protected the community and they protected each other when they responded to this scene. I'm so proud of the actions of the Watertown Police, the State Police, the Boston Police. It's been an incredible team.
Did he have a weapon in the boat?
He did. You know what? I can't say. I was told that there was an exchange of gunfire. I was not there when he was taken out of the boat.
No Miranda warning. Claiming public exemption. The reason, could you explain that for us?
Actually, the United States Attorney may want to, or the FBI may want to explain that. It's a federal issue.
What are the extent of...
Had the boat been searched earlier
Just a
today?
minute, we're going to finish the question.
No, it did not.
What was the question?
Reports tonight are that there was no Miranda warning given, that they were claiming a public safety exemption. Could we get an explanation for that?
There is a public safety exemption in cases of national security and potential charges involving acts of terrorism. And so the government has that opportunity right now, though I believe that the suspect has been taken to a hospital. So we'll start with there. Thank you. Yes? I'm sorry.
Do you seek the federal death penalty?
What I indicated earlier is that this is still an active and ongoing investigation. We're going to be reviewing all of the evidence. Before that kind of a decision is made in terms of whether or not to seek the death penalty, you review all of the evidence, and it's a very thoughtful, long process that is engaged, and it's the Attorney General of the Department of Justice that that makes that final decision.
Commissioner,
Thank you.
Straight to the.
I'm sorry, Karen.
Went straight to the vote, and then can you or Colonel Alvin talk to us a little bit about what happened when you were on the scene? Was he moving around? How did you know it was finally a chance to take him into custody?
Yes, I'm going to let.
We know he didn't go straight to the boat. We set up the perimeter with the best intentions, with a lot of information. That we found blood in the car that he abandoned. We found blood behind a house inside the perimeter. So we had no information that he had gotten outside of perimeter. As we said, it was very chaotic early this morning. We had to aid a police officer that was shot, bleeding. And so there was a lot of things going on. We thought we got the perimeter solid, and we pretty much did that, but we were about 1 block away. So, but he had to be moving a little bit after he was behind a house for a period of time that we know.
When you got there, though, was he moving? And how did you know that you could take him into custody? Had he been moving around? You were able to watch him?
Yeah.
Sure. The reason that we knew this is our helicopter had actually detected the subject in the boat. We have a what's called a FLIR, a forward-looking infrared device on that helicopter. It picked up the heat signature of the individual, even though he was underneath what appeared to be the shrink wrap or a cover on the boat itself. And there was movement from that point on, and the helicopter was able to direct the tactical teams over to that area and ultimately take him into custody.
Did the police search the boat during the day? During the day in the perimeter.
Yeah, it was outside the perimeter during the day, so it was not searched. This was the act of a citizen that went out and discovered this individual in the boat, and ultimately called the Watertown Police Department, and resulted in this our response.
What were the suspects doing at MIT? Were they planning another bombing?
The suspect won't make it and won't live to tell the story of what happened?
I'm sorry?
Is there a chance the suspect won't make it?
I don't know. I did not see him when he was taken into custody. I know he's in serious condition, but I don't know to what extent. I think we've taken enough questions for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Feel better.
Thank you all.
Quite extraordinary video footage there. That is between the police and between suspect number 2, Dzhokar Tsarnaev, and that is tonight. He's now in custody. He's still alive. Listen again to this. It's just come in. New video. We know they exchanged gunfire. We don't know how bad his injuries are. He's gone to hospital tonight, and we'll have to hope that he is okay, because then he can face trial. And that's what most Americans, I think, would want him to do tonight. Let's go to Jessica Yellen now, White House, chief White House correspondent, because the president is about to make a statement. Jessica.
That's right, Piers. Hi. President Obama, I'm told by sources here, was in the residence tonight watching television reports of the pursuit and that all the developments in Watertown as we were. And he saw this go down just as we did. As soon as it was happening, he went over to the Oval Office to get the latest updates from his staff. And then FBI Director Robert Mueller called him to officially let him know that the suspect had been captured alive. And he has decided now to come out and make a statement. I'm told by White House staff here, and I actually saw this myself, that they brought in local news from Boston throughout the day so they could monitor actually some of the events all day long. They were riveted to the television just as we were. So the president updated throughout the day, and he is here back at work and ready to come in, brief the nation on a exciting end and a successful law enforcement conclusion to all of this and the beginning of even more in a further investigation. Piers, we're waiting for him any moment now.
Yeah, and just before the president speaks, it's important, I think, to remind everybody again that as they've made this capture tonight of the victims in the last week, 8-year-old Martin Richard, 29-year-old Crystal Campbell, Lu Lingzi from China, aged just 23, more than 183 others were injured in the marathon bombing. 58 of those remain in hospital, 3 of them in critical condition. Many, of course, lost their limbs. And last night, the MIT officer, Sean Collier, just 26-year-old, he was killed. and 15 other Boston and Massachusetts policemen who were injured in last night's gun battle. A deadly, deadly, awful toll. And tonight, the satisfaction for the people in that area and for Boston and for America that Dzhokar Tsarnaev is in custody and he is alive at the moment, which is, we don't know the extent of his injuries. We're going to try and find out more. Fran Townsend, I believe you're with us now, national security correspondent for CNN. In terms of the fact that this has happened within 4 days, Fran, this has to be considered a big success for the FBI.
Oh. Absolutely, it's a tremendous success, and I think what you heard at that press conference is them saying it's a team success. You needed the Watertown police and the Boston police. No one agency could have done it on their own, but the FBI gets tremendous credit. Look, they're going to have to answer some real questions, though. Today we're very happy that this has been brought to the conclusion, but they're going to have to answer questions. A foreign government, I suspect it's the Russian government, gave them a lead 2 years ago to go and talk to the older suspect who was killed yesterday. And they did, and then they decided not to pursue it. And I expect, Piers, that those are going to be questions that the FBI and Director Mueller are going to have to answer in the coming days.
And the president, going back to Jessica Yellen, do we know what time the president's due to speak?
Was supposed to speak already 15 minutes ago. Any moment now appears. He was waiting for that press conference to happen first in Boston, so he should be out here within moments.
OK, I'll go quickly to our two legal brains here. Jeffrey Toobin, this debate already that's got going over the Miranda rights. You've heard what some of the authorities had to say earlier. What did you make of what they've been saying and the way they're positioning this case from the start here?
Well, they're asserting that there is a public safety exception that allows them to question him and then potentially use the information, use the statements against him.
Are they right?
Think that's not at all clear. I don't think that has been resolved. Now, this may be a moot question because if he is so injured that he can't be questioned at all, whether he got Miranda rights or not won't really matter. But the question
of whether... And they think the injury, just to clarify, that may have come, they said, the police, from last night's gun battle, not necessarily from what happened today.
They can't have it both ways. They can't announce that the public safety is now over, that everybody's safe, this is all over, it's behind us, but we still need a public safety exception. The FBI is making a serious mistake by not giving him his Miranda warnings. They should give him his Miranda warnings. They should get him a lawyer. Let's not give him any excuse to be able to successfully argue that his rights were denied.
Well, it's certainly an extraordinary night, a conclusion to an extraordinary week in many ways. We're waiting for the President of the United States. President Obama will be speaking about this, wants to make a statement about the capture of Dzhokar Tsarnaev, following, of course, the death of his brother yesterday. This brings to conclusion the FBI investigation to hunt down the Boston Marathon bombers. And they've done it in 4 days. And although there may well be further investigation into what has happened here, the FBI, we know, spoke to one of these brothers 2 years ago. For now, I think they can be very pleased with their operation. I'm going to go now to Anderson Cooper, who's live in Boston, and we'll take things from here. Anderson, over to you.
Piers, thanks very much. Good evening, everyone. 10 p.m. here in Boston. We are awaiting some words from President Obama. That will happen any moment, we are told. 4 days since the bombing, a little more than a day and a night since a string of murder and mayhem marked the beginning of the end. And tonight we witness the end. It's over. Tonight on the streets of Boston, pent-up pride and fear, relief. A lot of people very, very happy tonight. People chanting USA for the arrest of the second suspect, the only surviving suspect in the Boston Marathon bombing that claimed 3 lives the day of the bombing, forever altered the lives of so many more, claimed the life of a police officer just last night. The second of 2 brothers, the second of 2 Boston Marathon bombing suspects is now in custody. 19-year-old Dzhokar Tsarnaev, a Chechen American. His older brother, Tamerlan, killed last night in a shootout with police in Watertown, about 20 minutes west of where I'm standing. Now, their flight from justice included the alleged murder of a police officer, as I said, in Cambridge, a carjacking, a car chase, bomb throwing, and a gun battle. Tonight in Watertown, it all ended. The younger suspect cornered